business in e-commerce means having precise decision points about cost and scaling. Hi, I'm Courtney Eckerly in the Marketing Sherpa Media Center at IRCE, and with me is Jonathan Wu, Chief Operations Officer for Touch of Modern. So the first slide that we have is actually, it's from your presentation. It talks about how in order to address those pain points, people really need to get back to basics.
Yeah, so you're seeing a lot of focus in 2016 about this emphasis on profitability. You're seeing a lot of e-commerce getting into trouble because they're really just not focused on the basics of marketing and merchandising. And my real focus here with this is, the very fundamental premise of marketing is that you should be acquiring users profitably, right? And in the merchandising focus, this is really how you're going to leverage your merchandise and your products to really drive margin. My role as Chief Operating Officer is trying to make our operations as efficient as possible. That way we can really allocate as much resources towards the growth engines, which is marketing and merchandising.
And you see a lot of companies focusing more on funding over profitability, and that's kind of switching back to profitability.
Yeah, in the past, you've seen this huge chase of chasing revenue. And I think that really comes from the premise that in the software world, it's a winner-take-all market, right? There's a single leader. But the unique thing about e-commerce is that due to the differences in your marketing and therefore what customers you're targeting and the differences in the merchandise and what you're selling, you can actually have multiple winners in different segments. And that kind of unique dynamic really makes that emphasis of efficiency and profitability that's very core to e-commerce.
And one area of cost that you speak about in your presentation is when do you create things and do things in-house, and when do you look outside for that? So how should people decide?
Yeah, so that's definitely a very tricky question for any e-commerce company. For us, we decided to build all of our technology in-house, everything from our CRM, WMS, ERP, all the way through our front-end applications. And the reason for this is that now everything's sat in a single data warehouse, so we could run analytics from marketing to operations to financial all across a single platform. And that became very, very powerful because for our company, we let data really drive a lot of our decisions. So when you're looking for marketing platforms, either internal or external, the very core focus is you really want to bring all that data back in-house so that you can analyze it with your operational and financial metrics.
So when it comes to whether or not it's in-house or coming from outside from a vendor or tool, you just need to make sure that everything can really work in unison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the more disaggregated your systems are, the more that they don't talk to each other. That's where data can get lost, or you have lags, or just syncing issues. So that's the most important thing, right? Once you have all your data together, you can understand everything, then you really know what's going on with your business, and you can make great decisions.
So for anyone who is maybe trying to make those decisions right now, do you have a piece of advice that you would offer from your experience?
Yeah, from my experience kind of heading up operations and finance, our focus has been trying to bring all of our operational infrastructure, all the operational technology in-house, because since every e-commerce business is slightly unique, particularly in their operations, it's very important to design custom technology that fits very specifically for that. In the case of marketing, because marketing and advertising is such a very dynamic industry, we tend to look outside more for partners because as the landscape keeps changing, as channels keep being introduced, you want to be ahead of the curve.
And of course, the main point in all of this is always to do whatever will work best for your customer.
Of course. At the end of the day, we're trying to deliver an excellent product and value to your customer.
Great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
And if you would like to see more videos, please go to marketingsherpa.com/IRCE.